Hello, this is Mary Taylor with Better Day Consulting. I just want to bring you guys a little quick video about the FICO score and how the percentages are broken down on the pie chart. So we'll talk about how the credit pie chart is broken down. You have your Vantage score versus your FICO score. So your Vantage score is more like the Android, and they deal with like Capital One and Credit Karma. So when you see this, you score on Credit Karma, you say, "Wow, I got an 800 credit score or 750 credit score." Well, actually, your credit score is not even that high, because Credit Karma is like a marketing platform. And anytime that you click on one of those links to apply for a credit card, Credit Karma gets paid for it. So the FICO score is more like the Apple, and it deals with stuff like your mortgages. When you go pull your mortgage for a credit report, and you done already looked at your Vantage score and you think you qualified, well, when they pull your FICO score, you may not be qualified anymore based on the score differences. So the purpose of this video is we're going to talk about the FICO score and how it's widely used, and we're going to have it broken down into 5 different categories. So the first category is the biggest one, is the payment history. And have you made your payments on time? Did you pay your bills on time? And if not, were you late? Do you have any charge out? Do you have any collections? All of that affects your payment history. The amount owed is 30%. And what is the balance that you owe on all your credit cards? What kind of type of utilization are you using on your card? Are you over the limit on your card? Your credit history, the length, how long you had your credit for, how long you had this particular card for, 1 year, 6 months, 20 years, and that's 15% of your score. Your new credit and your inquiries falls in the 10% category, as well as how many requests that you asked for, how many times you apply for credit, and how much new credit that you have on your report. And the types of credit is your credit mix. It's like mortgages, car notes, student loan, revolving credit is big in that area too. So the total points that you can have is 550, and that adds up all the percentage for each category. You have 300 base points, which you get a total of 850 points. So if somebody says, "Oh, I got an 850 credit score," then they at the max of the scores that they can get. So your payment history is 35%, which is 192 points. 192.50 points. Your amount that you owe, your utilization is 30%, and that's 165 points in that category. For your length of credit history, that's 82%, 82.5%, and it's at 15%. And your new credit or your inquiries is 10%, and that makes up 55 points in your score. Same thing for the credit mix and the types of credit, which is 10%, which make up 55 points in your score. So how do we arrive at these points? Well, we took the 550, the max points that you can earn, and divided by the percentage in each category. So for instance, if payment history is 35%, then we divided by 550, which is 192. And we did the same thing for each category. 30% on the utilization, which came out to 165, 15% on length of credit history, 8250, credit mix at 10% at 55, and also the new inquiries at 55 points. So you see the percentage total up to be 100%, and those points total up to be 550 points. So let's talk about your payment history a little bit. So have you paid your bills on time? This is what makes up your payment history. Have you paid your bills on time? If you just started off with credit, don't have any credit, then it'll take at least 4 to 6 months for a score to generate on your credit score, for your initial score. If you already have credit, then I'm not talking about you in here. Just somebody that don't have credit at all. So your late payments, your charge-offs, your collections, they will prevent you from maximizing the total number of points in this category. The amount owed is your 30% utilization and your debt, which is 165 total points. So how much of your credit limit are you using? Are you going to max on it? Some people may have a credit card or of like $1,000, and they're at $900. That's 9% of utilization, and we're trying to get you 30% or less. So stay under 30% not to lose points in this category. And I did an example here. You have the $500 credit card used at 30%, and then you have the $500 credit card used at 10%, and you can see the difference right there. And at $5,000, if you're using that, you get using 30% is $1,500. So you can't go over that. So if you're using $5,000 credit card on the other side and you only use 10%, that's only $500, and that's a good place to be at. So the length of credit history is at 82.5%. So it talks about how long you done had each account, for each account that you done have. So what's the average age of your accounts? For instance, if you have an account with 10 years on and you have an account with 2 years on it, you only have those two accounts on your credit report, then they take the average of those two, they add them together, which is 12 years, and take the average of those two accounts, and it comes up to be 6 years. So the average age of your account is 6 years, would be 6 years for that example. So can't nothing cure this but time. So time going to have to pass by for you to have your length of credit history, because it starts from the date that your account was open. So if your account is open today, then a year from now, it'll have 1 year of credit history on there. And a lot of times, creditors, when you get denied credit, they say lack of credit history. That's one of the things that they talk about, because you don't have enough credit established to get their account. And student loans are probably the most oldest account some people have on their credit report, because a lot of people go to school and they get these loans and they are deferred, so they don't have any payments on it. And the loan could be 5 and 6 years old, and you don't establish that good payment history. So you don't want to delete those, especially if they have good payment history on them. And most people lose points in this category too, because they close their accounts. Don't close any of your accounts out, even though you may not be using them or anything like that. Don't close them out. Let the merchant close them out. But you go ahead and keep that line of credit open so it can count against your how much credit you have in your utilization. So your new credit and your inquiries. A lot of people rack up a whole lot of inquiries, which plummet their score. They can lose up to 55 points in this category. And multiple hard inquiries, they are high risk to lenders. They don't want to see people with a whole lot of inquiries on their credit report, because it looks like they're starving for credit. How many hard inquiries do you have? How many new accounts do you have? All that phases into this category as well. So hard inquiries stay on your report for 24 months. But for the most part, hard inquiries can't be removed unless it's identity theft or you didn't give permissible purpose. You have to give permissible purpose for somebody to run your credit. Hard inquiries usually for like mortgages and cars and automobiles and stuff like that, and credit cards. So soft inquiries are pulled for a review. So any of your creditors can pull your credit report as a soft inquiry just to see how you're paying your bills, because they may want to offer extend you a credit line increase, or if they see that you're done spending too much, they may want to decrease your credit line. So and also potential creditors look at your credit report as well to see can they offer you credit. So we're going to talk about the types of credit mix, which are, you got like the revolving, you got the installment. But for an example, installment loan could be like a house payment or a car payment, for example. And they may give you 48 months the terms. So every month for 48 months, you're going to pay, for example, $500 on your car note or your mortgage note or whatever kind of type installment loan you have. Revolving credit is using it over and over and over. So if you got $1,000 so we use the example, we just use $5,000 credit limit, and you use up to $1,500 using 30%. Well, you don't want to go over that, of course, but then when you pay it back down, you use it again. You just keep on revolving until they increase your credit limit, or you just pay it off. So we're going to recap. We talked about the Vantage score versus the FICO score. We talked about we went over the 5 categories of the FICO score. We talked about the base points, which is 300, and the max points that you can obtain with your credit is 550 points. And we talked about how many points are in each category, and we talked about how the points are calculated. And we talked about the 10% versus 30% utilization. And we also talked about hard inquiries versus soft inquiries. So we do offer free credit consults. You can go to this link here, creditconsult.betterdayconsulting.com, so we can kind of see where you are in your credit and see what needs to happen. My name is Mary Taylor, Better Day Consulting and Credit Repair. If you want your credit fixed, put Mary Taylor in the mix. Thank you.